I'm Tom Vasel.
Zee Garcia, hello!
Sam Healey, what's up, y'all?
It's the end of 2016.
What?
As we know it. So what we do every year is we talk about our favorite games from 2016. And, of course, these lists could possibly change because we have not played all the games in 2016.
True.
Although we played most of the quote-unquote big releases by this point.
Yes.
Or at least we played most of the big releases that we would likely like.
Yes.
Like, for example, Great Western Trail. I know Z hasn't played it, but it wouldn't have made his top 10 anyway.
I don't think so.
All right, so these are our top 10. This is just one of many top 10 lists of about the end of the year that we're doing, but this is the biggest one to make it fun. I have my notebook here of my top 10s, but I also wrote down what I thought Z and Sam would say. I wrote this down yesterday in preparation.
You like us?
I'm feeling confident about my list. I don't think I'll get 10 out of 10, but I feel like I'll get a passing grade, at least for you. For him, I'm feeling very confident.
Really?
For you, less so.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, this
You've
is
already
good.
seen my top 100.
He did peak.
Oh, your top 100. Yeah, that's true. Although I didn't even think about going and looking at that.
Man, you failed.
I could have went and looked at that
you.
and just gone through it.
You could have.
I did not do that.
That's exactly what I did.
Good job.
Right.
I only have 11 games that are from 2016 on my top 100.
I do want to talk about that a little bit before we launch into it. How did you guys feel about the year overall?
For me, in my top 10, yes, I think they're all my top 100 also. So it's good. But okay, we got to realize that we're always like in a cyclical. The new year always feels better during that year.
I guess I don't particularly feel like this was that strong of a year because I couldn't keep going after these 10. I don't think I could keep going for much longer.
Well, I know that there were some games that I have recently played that were not on my top 100 and thus are not on this list.
Okay.
And I did that for, I guess, posterity's sake because I wanted to stay true to what my top 100 said.
Okay.
And in that ranking, it's kind of a spoilerish type thing there, but there would be at least one game that I have played recently that would be on this list, but I didn't include it because it's not in my top 100 because I didn't play it until after I made my top 100.
Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Anyway, I'm just all that to say I feel like it was a weaker year than, say, the previous two or so.
No, okay. I think there's no question that 2015 was a stronger year than 2016, but I don't think saying thing's a weaker year now. I mean, if you compare 2016 to, let's say, 2006.
Oh, no, forget it. Right.
I mean, it's really pretty powerful.
Yeah.
I feel like the year of 2016 was the sleeper hit year. There's a lot of games that are on my list that until I actually played them or until I actually saw them in front of me at a convention or something like that, didn't really know much about them.
Okay.
But I played them and they were that good. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's kind of a sleeper hit year. There were some definite bright spots, but there were a whole bunch of hidden gems, so to speak.
Okay. Cool.
Well, we'll see. Let's get started.
Number 10.
All right, my number 10 is probably the opposite of a hidden gem. This game had so much hype going into it that you were either going to hate it or you were going to love it. And it kind of went about backwards as well, where it started out with artwork and then it went to the actual game. Mm-hmm. Talking about Scythe. My number 10 is Scythe.
1 for 1, baby.
Did you have it in the right spot?
No, I didn't even try that.
No,
I did not number this. No, that's garbage. Garbage.
No, you're garbage. Anyway, I chose to pretty much just not listen to much of the hype that was out there because I didn't really care what other people were thinking about it, so to speak. So I stayed away from it, and I got to play it at UKGE, EFKA, from No Pun Included, I think is his name. His podcast name. He taught Tom and I how to play the game, along with a couple other people. Really enjoyed myself. It does have a little bit of a abrupt ending, though, and that's why it's number 10. It just squeaked onto my list because of the ending is a little abrupt, but the way the game plays and the fun that we've had isn't negated by that. It just, I thought it was a weird ending. But my number 10, Scythe, really enjoy the game. A great hybrid between Euro and what would possibly be considered Ameritrash kind of confrontational type play. Really enjoyed it. Number 10, Scythe.
All right, for me, I heard that some people get tired of hearing us say "in a box," so I will use that phrase for this game. This game is Star Wars in a box, and so
Really?
my number 10 is Star Wars Rebellion.
Number 10?
You're thinking because it's so low, right?
Yes.
I know it's his number 1.
No.
Star Wars
on your
Rebellion, I
list.
really do enjoy it. The two things that would keep it from maybe being higher is, when I look at my favorites list, I'm also thinking how often do I want to play them. In Star Wars Rebellion, I want to play it, but not as much as I want to play the other games. Also, it's 2 players and longer, but it is great. It really does feel like you're playing A New Hope mixed with Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, as a board game with different names and different, things will happen. But it's that same basic space opera setting. Great components. It's just a fantastic game. And I think it's actually pretty good that it's still on my list because this is like one of the first games of the year we played. And
That's true.
you always tend to tilt towards the games you played more recently. That's the way it
Okay.
tilts for people,
Yeah,
like
maybe.
the Gen Con and Essen games. But this one has stayed pretty strong for me. So Star Wars Rebellion.
My number 10 is a tile laying game, which I tend to enjoy, but it's hard for there to come one along and really blow me away. And this is one that did that right from the very first play. That's King Domino. King Domino is a light game. It's a fairly simple game, very straightforward, but the gameplay is very tight, and how involved the rules are is that's light, that's simple. The gameplay, what you ought to be doing, how you win the game, sort of, it really is, there's more there than the rules and the gameplay would lead you to believe. And I've played this one a lot. I've played with all player counts. I've played with all sorts of different groups, all sorts of different players. It really,
Never with me.
that's true. It really scales well. It really plays smoothly. Fantastic tile laying game.
Played it
Bright,
with me.
beautiful. That's right. I really like it a lot. King Domino was a surprise hit for me, and I think of it very highly. It takes something different for a tile laying game to surprise me these days. Not surprise me, but like really be something that I find captivating. This one has that.
Oh, well, I actually thought about you when I was looking through the list of games. I was like, nah, I don't think that's in the top 10. I was wrong.
It's 10, right? It's squeaked in.
Okay.
Number 9.
My number 9 could be considered a party game, I suppose, because it's only ever going to be played with 8 people, at least when I'm playing around with it, and that's Captain Sonar. 4-on-4. It's basically real-time battleship insanity. I just love the whole concept of it. I love the gigantic shield. I guess if you're using it as an RPG shield, you'd be like, I'm in my fort.
Yeah.
But it's one of those games that works not in a lot of situations, right? Like if I'm with Sam, I'm like, hey, let's play Captain Sonar. It's never going to happen. Or even with like 3 or 4 people. But when I do see it get played, it's one of those games that I've never seen people like not come out of it going, I love this. Usually,
It's an experience.
right, but
Yeah.
people are really liking it. It gives me the same experience that Artemis does, the computer game in a sense,
Right.
except we do a little better in Captain Sonar, hopefully. We can't do worse than we do in Artemis.
I don't know. We did fine with Jason.
Self-destruction.
I've done it. All
right.
right, so anyway, my number 9, Captain Sonar.
My number 9 is Quadropolis from Days of Wonder.
Back on track.
Quadropolis is a city building game, which I tend not to like that genre of games, but this one really captivates me. It's bright, it's beautiful, it's fairly simple, and I very much enjoy how you have to puzzle it all out, because every time you play a tile out somewhere on your little city grid, that's a place you cannot put something else. And figuring out when it's okay to let something go at the expense of another thing is really where the game, what the game hinges on. And then how you take those tiles, that mechanism of placing an arrow and grabbing a tile, placing it, it's mechanical, very mechanical, but it's captivating. It's a very well done game. Gorgeous, of course. Days of Wonder, amazing production, really neat stuff. Days of Wonder just keeps making hits, and Quadropolis is another one for me. That's my number 9.
My number 9 was one of those sleeper agents that we didn't have any information about until, bam, it was going to hit. This guy had a little bit of insider information about it, so we here at the Dice Tower knew it was coming, but you guys out there probably didn't. And this came out of nowhere. Riot Games made Mechs versus Minions. And this is a shocker for me because I usually don't like programming games. But the fact that this one is a cooperative programming game, that's what makes it a little bit more fun for me, because the programming isn't conflicting with anybody else's program. And that's where I really don't like programming games, is when somebody, will inevitably try to mess you up, or they are going in such a pattern that will hopefully, in their opinion, mess you up. So I don't like that about programming games, but this one is cooperative, so you're actually working together, still programming everything, and that's why I enjoy it. Plus, it comes with a mess of minis, and they're very nice, look very good, and the scenario-based part of it is also cool as well. So that's my number 9, Mechs versus Minions.
I wonder why I didn't put that one down for you. I just didn't know that you liked it as much as we did. I know you liked it. I just didn't know you liked it as much.
So you're messing up again, is what you're saying.
I'm 50% with both of you. I still have hopes. Yeah, no, that's interesting. I'm wondering now if we're gonna have any three-way crossovers. I'm starting to think no.
I don't think so.
I don't think we will. We'll find out. Let's go on.
Number 8.
My number 8 is going to be my sleeper, the big-time sleeper sort of game that Sam was talking about. This is one that I don't even think is on many people's radar yet, and it is, for me, this is the one I'm calling the Karuba of this year. That is called Avenue from Aporta Games. Avenue is based on Doodle Dice, which is this very simple roll and write kind of game. Avenue, however, instead of being dice-based, you flip a card. It has a route drawn on there, so say a cross, up and down, a curve this way, whatever, and everyone writes that on their own sheet wherever they want. And you're trying to connect cities to grapes, you're trying to deliver goods, whatever. The gameplay is very simple, but it's the fact that every time you flip a card, you are 3-4 cards in, and everyone's little player boards are going to look completely different already. And this is, for me, the very best game in that style of game. That whole, I have a sheet of paper, I'm going to do some notes on it, and then we'll see who did it best. This one blows Doodle Dice away, and most other games of this genre. It's pretty, it's quick, it's engaging, extremely well done. Just love it a lot. It's one that deserves a ton of attention. I don't think it's getting it, so if that sounds like your style, you should definitely look into it. That's called Avenue. That's my number 8.
Starting to see why his.
So
you think this is a weak year.
Because you were underwhelmed with the year, your entire list is going to be filled with underwhelming games. Is that what you're
Have
trying
you played it?
No, but it's a doodle game, dude.
Your mouth.
Oh my goodness. Doodle game, dude.
I'm a little concerned here. Each game is going to get progressively smaller. His final game, a single card.
That is on the list. A single card game is on the list.
All right, my number 8 is a game that, again, I didn't even know was happening until I got to Origins. And when I got to Origins, just a hop, skip, and a jump away from our little area at Origins was the... oh, goodness. Why did I...
Gale Force 9.
Brain Forted. Yeah, wow. Good one.
I picked it.
Gale Force 9's booth was just across the way
Good job.
from where we were. And big purplish looking box, Tyrants of the Underdark, D&D system game where it takes deck building, which I'm not too hot on, but area control, which I like a lot, and it mashes them together. I really enjoyed it. I didn't know how much I was going to like it when we first played it because I wasn't impressed with the component value of the game. The board was really drab and boring looking. I thought they could have done a lot more with the board. The little pieces that make up your armies and all that type of stuff were all the same, just different colors. So there wasn't a whole lot of eye-popping going on with Tyrants of the Underdark, but the way that the game plays, the way the game plays is what made it onto my list. Why it makes it to my list. So my number 8, Tyrants of the Underdark.
I knew you liked that more and more as the time went by.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my number 8 just got played in the last month. a big, giant, humongous box of Conan.
Yep.
It might even have gone higher, but
You played it sooner.
the misogynist stuff.
I gotcha.
There's parts of it that I'm like a little uncomfortable with, right? I wish I could be more. I wish I could like bring it out with more groups. Like, oh, I'm playing Conan. Don't look at the rulebook. Stuff like that.
Right.
But
Permanently fold that one back.
but overall, I really do think it's a smooth campaign system style game. I'm sorry, it's a campaign-less style game. It's scenario based, and you're going in, and it's more story driven than almost any of these other games. When we're done, I thought Descent 2 and Imperial Assault were very story driven. I think this beats both of them because in Imperial Assault, it's kind of like, oh, I opened the door and there were some stormtroopers here. You're like, Conan runs in and you can see him just like slicing and dicing and then a giant snake. I don't know how to explain it. I just thought it came across very well. And the component quality is Kumar not quality, really.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
excellent. Beats Games Workshop around the block. Just kidding.
I wouldn't say that.
Number 7.
One for
My
three.
number 7 is slightly smaller than my number 8 pick. No, I'm kidding. These guys need to get off my back because my number 7 pick is a Martin Wallace game by the name of Via Nebula.
Yes, I'm back, baby.
Via Nebula is, I should say right away, I'm not normally a fan of Martin Wallace games. They don't tend to do it for me.
You don't
for
like
one thing, they're not
Age of
attractive.
Steam?
I really don't. They're typically not attractive, and they tend to be too mathy, too dry, right? That's fine. If you like that stuff, I don't. Via Nebula is a fantastic design. It really takes Euro concepts that he's familiar with and streamlines them. Pickup and delivery. But streamlined, clean, wrapped around a cute theme, amazing artwork, straightforward rules, tight gameplay time. The whole thing is superb. It is a Euro game that is squarely in like the family plus, I would say, camp that really appeals. It is going to appeal, I think, to a lot of different people.
But it's got almost no buzz.
But it's got no buzz, right?
I'm betting it's because of Asmodee's pricing. I'm
It's
betting
too-
it's
it's
an
too
expensive
expensive.
game for what you get in it,
you
right?
played it?
I have. I like it.
I haven't played it.
I don't know. You might like it because you like the Trans America, okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has it's some similarities to Trans America.
Yeah, I
feel.
can see that. I can see that. This is a great game. Again, if you haven't looked into it and you enjoy that style, I would definitely say check it out. Via Nebula is my number 7.
All right, lest you think I'm all about thrashing people, this is a now pure Euro game time, and that's Feast for Odin. Really, really like this game, and I could see it moving up, although I really like the rest of the games on my list. But Feast for Odin, it's Uwe Rosenberg, and the game, he actually put the feed your people in the title of the game. It's a feast that's about feeding your Vikings. However, it's really easy to feed your people in this game. In fact, the game gives you the food to feed your people every other turn. So, getting more. But I love the whole spatial aspect. I mean, I like his other game he did this year, Cottage Garden, which has that spatial aspect too. I really enjoy it, though, in this game even more because I like how deep it is and how many things there are to do. It's worker placement. There's a gazillion choices, and while I don't always want to play a game with gazillion choices, and there's a lot of people that they're not allowed to play this game with me because they can't handle more than 2 choices. But if you can, and it works really well with 2, especially in that regard, I just love it. There's honestly 60 different places to place your workers. I love that. And that's, I don't know. This is
There's
like
60 places to put your workers, or
Yeah.
are you embellishing?
No, I'm not embellishing. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy cool. But again,
Nope, exactly. That's how I feel.
I love
Nope.
it. Don't listen to these guys. Feast for Odin.
Well, my number 7 is also an Odin game, but it is one about. Did you get
Did not.
it? In the Name of Odin from NSKN Games.
Wow, I didn't think that would be
I
this
did not
high on your
realize
list.
this was going to be in your top 10
No,
of the year.
I really enjoy the simplicity of it.
Is this in your top 100 too?
Yeah, it is.
I know that.
I just told you that these 11 games, I'm only saying 10 of them, were on my top 100. That's how I made
Zee
my
and me,
list.
we really.
That's how I made my list.
I watched it.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys did. In the Name of Odin is a very simply played game about taking your tribe. First of all, building up your village. Each building that you put into your village gives you a special ability that you can do on your turn. Everybody has to build the same buildings, but the separate copies of the buildings have different abilities on them. So your village is much different than somebody else's village at the end of the game. That's one of the things that I really like about it. Secondarily, I like how simple it was to go out on these expeditions. There wasn't a whole lot of adding or multiplying or dividing and carry the root of this number to that. And if you get
You think he's exaggerating, but there are games that do
if
that.
you have the right numbers, you win. That's it. It's very simple. Those guys that you used for that expedition go away, and now you have to start building up for the next one. And it's just a really fun game that I enjoyed a lot. In the name of Odin, my number 7.
I think you're not a huge Euro gamer, but I think that when a Euro game has a theme you like, you latch on it more. Especially if that theme is Vikings.
Well, yeah, no,
Was Vikings in your top 100?
No.
No, that one dropped out, right?
No, you talk about Vikings on board?
No, just Vikings.
No. You talking about on my top 100? You
Yeah.
said. No, I don't believe it was. It dropped off.
But the other Viking game, Fire and Axe, is in your top 100. Yeah. You that is like one of your
That
favorite
actually
games.
rose in my list.
All right.
Number 6.
All right, a first crossover. Not with Z.
Obviously.
I'll get to you
I'm
when
pretty
you
sure
put.
Quadropolis is going to be on your list at some point.
All right. You think what you think. But anyway, it's with Sam and it's Mechs vs. Minions.
There we go.
This was certainly a game that I knew it was coming, although honestly, it was like I had forgotten about it. They had brought me in to consult on it last year, like early in the year, and then I just forgot the game even existed. And then at Gen Con, I remember he showed it to me, and I was like, "What is this? This was not what I had seen earlier." And when we played it, it was so much fun. You can see us playing it live here on the show. I just really enjoy it. I like cooperative games a lot. I like beautiful miniatures a lot. I like the whole little campaign. It's not necessarily, it is a campaign, but I like that the game has very distinct
Unlocking
scenarios.
things is just fun, yeah.
Right. And I really like that as a cooperative game, it really kind of hits that alpha gamer hard. Like there's a little bit of time element to picking those cards, and that keeps one person from telling everyone else what to do.
Yep.
So, and I'm a big fan of that swarm of bad guys and you fight them off. Huge fan of that. So, that's Mechs vs. Minions.
All right, my number 6 is a.
He's over here getting ready.
It is a game published by Chara Games, Chara, and it is a biblically themed game. Did you get it?
Did.
All right, good. That I really think is the first modern style biblically themed game that's out there, and it's probably at current time right now one of the best. There are, as far as,
And the name is?
Oh, I'm sorry. Commission. Thank you for reminding me. I was thinking of other things. I'm sorry. Commissioned is my favorite religiously themed game right now because it takes a biblical theme and puts it into a modern mechanism, something that has since now seems to be anathema. You just don't do that. It has to be, you have to take your biblical theme and wrap it around some old busted game and then sell it to a bunch of people who are clamoring for Christian or biblically themed games. These guys went against that grain and actually have a fresh, new modern design that they put around a biblical theme, historically based theme, and it's really cool. I've referred to it as kind of like Pandemic in reverse, because Pandemic, you're all about trying to keep everything in and knock it out. With Commission, you're trying to aid the spread. And it's really cool. I've really enjoyed it. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, you really should. My number 6, Commissioned.
Speaking of Pandemic, my number 6 is Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu.
I didn't put that.
Pay up.
I didn't bet against you, but I didn't put it on the list because I thought you wouldn't be. Come on. Your list is invalid. I can't even.
Oh, it gets better later on. Don't worry. What's the problem with Reign of Cthulhu, though?
It's fine, but it's just a variant on an existing game. It's top 10 games. Did you play games this year? Good
All right,
night.
don't worry. You save it for a little bit later. It's going to get much better. part of
I can't
why
stay mad at you.
thought, oh my
Oh my goodness.
Part of why I thought this was a weaker year is because a lot of the games I ended up walking away liking are games that are spin-offs or based on or things like that. Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu certainly is one. Avenue certainly is one. There will be more. But Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu is, yes, it's a spin, it's a twist on Pandemic with a Cthulhu theme. And I like the new things that introduce. It's a smaller scale game slightly. The main big difference is the Shoggoths that are walking around the different towns, and you need to stop them going through the gates and making baddies show up and awful things happen. It's quicker, it's luckier, definitely. So I don't like it as much as the original, but it is faster and I almost want to say more visceral of a gameplay experience. So my number 6 is Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu.
Number 5.
I'm feeling better about your list as we go higher. I'm feeling
All
worse
right.
about you all the time.
My number 5 is an actual. This is maybe a little bit. I kind of kept my mouth shut when you were really laying into Z there, because this is another game that kind of feels like just a reskin of another game that came out in 2014, and the fantasy theme that got wrapped around Star Realms to produce Hero Realms.
Oh, wow.
I can't believe you missed this one.
You just played Hero Realms. You said you didn't add games you just played.
No, I've had Hero Realms since Essen, and I made my list after Essen.
Essen seems like it was yesterday.
There is that. There is that.
So Hero Realms is really cool. Now, I do have a caveat here. If the character packs were not available, I don't think it would have made my top 10. It probably would have still made my top 100 because I like Star Realms that much, and I like the fantasy theme that Hero Realms have. But without the character packs that are unfortunately sold separately from the base game, it really, there's not a whole lot of differentiation between it and Star Realms. But with the character packs, this blows Star Realms away, in my opinion, because it has variable starting decks. Each player has his own starting deck. Each character has 2 powers that only he can do during the course of the entire game. And so there's just a lot of things going on. I really enjoyed Star Realms to begin with. Hero Realms took that and went even further onto the good side, of course. So my number 5 is Hero Realms from White Wizard Games.
All right.
I just did mine.
Oh, did we all do 5s? Oh, we're going this way.
We're doing 6s. Yes?
No, we're doing 5s.
Yeah, 5s.
Go ahead.
Cool. My number 5.
He made me double. He made me doubt myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Woo. My number 5 is another. This is not a small game, but it certainly seems to be a sleeper because I'm not hearing it. It doesn't seem like it's selling that well. Oceanus is my number 5.
All right, back, baby.
Oceanus is a drafting and kind of card-laying, tile-laying sort of game from Antoine Boza, and it's certainly a lighter game than it would appear from looking at the box, looking at the back, right? It's super light. It's very light. Maybe that's what's keeping it down a little bit.
Do you think it's lighter than it feels when you're playing, like, ooh, all these strategic options, but really it's
very
too
light.
light?
It really is. I mean, and I know that, so when I play it, I go into it knowing that you're just sort of there to enjoy the ride. You know what I mean? Winning, losing in the game, choices are there, but they're super light. However, having said all of that, this game is stunningly beautiful. It is fun to play. Drafting is always fun. I've yet to play a drafting game that isn't captivating. It's fun to draft cards. You don't. That's a variant.
Oh, that's the best way to play.
I don't care. The best way to play Agricola is to leave it on the show.
To not play it.
Anyway,
I win!
I think it's really fun. If you are looking for a stunning looking game and you want it for the family, this is a good one. You know, if you want to play the kids with the grown-ups together, quick, 35 minutes or so. It'll give you a really nice little tableau built up in front of you when you're done with the game. It's got cute little animals, undersea critters you're collecting. It's a great game. It's really fun. It's just light, yeah. So, my number 5 is Oceanus. Very much recommend that one as well.
All right. Well,
Oh, okay, hold on.
Here we go.
I'm just prepping here.
What's going on?
Because
We're going to get hate? You're going to
You
get
got the
hate?
hate, aren't you?
the thing is this.
Oh, hold on.
I think that sometimes the second edition is so different from
smell
the
blood
first
in the water.
edition that it counts as a brand new game.
Dun,
Nope.
And I think Mansions of Madness second edition
dun,
is
dun, dun,
so
dun, dun,
much
dun,
different
dun,
than
dun,
Mansions of
dun.
Madness. Shut up.
My goodness, you put a 4-year-old game.
It is not. Mansions of Madness, I would not even have put that in my top
So
500 games.
hold on. So, Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu.
Yes!
You were
Hit
saying,
him!
what about that game?
Yeah, but see, here's the deal. You would put Pandemic and Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu like in your top games.
Right.
I'm saying Mansions of Madness 2 has obliterated Mansions of Madness. I won't play that ever again.
But you will. It's called Mansions of
No,
Madness.
and
2.0.
those who are watching who have played the game know I speak truth. And I can stand
played
it.
the game.
No, I do actually disagree with Sam on this. I do think 2.0 is considerably different from the first.
It's really
and it's
different.
a good game.
How?
The app.
The app.
But the
Oh,
app,
no, okay, stop. All I have to do to make a brand new game is to take an old game and add an app to it.
That
well, do it
fixes
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
Wow, my goodness.
No, but in that case,
Have you
it
ever
really made a
played
difference.
Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu, the app-driven version?
No, I
You're not
haven't.
helping my
Oh,
argument.
man. You don't even know.
Anyhow, I am not the biggest Cthulhu fan. Well, I mean, the Cthulhu as a board game fan. There's a lot of it out there, right?
You like him as a person.
He's okay. We
Why can't we be friends?
had a double date one time, but anyhow,
Jeez. I've had 2 dates with me. With him.
We're getting rabbit trailing
Okay,
here.
sorry.
Hard
So
time.
I
anyway,
have had 2 dates with Cthulhu.
Mansions of Madness. Focus.
Whooped the snot out of me on both of them.
Okay, that's true. You did. Okay, so Mansions of Madness, though, I really like because I love the theme of the game is so strong, and I'm a big fan of theme. But this is one of the most themed games I've ever played. I mean, the music helps and everything. But what I really like about it is that it's not just
4 years old?
It's not just a run through and hack and slash. Like monsters will show up, but there's some scenarios where monsters like don't even show up till like way later in the game. But it's that finding things, experiencing things, hearing a crash in the next room.
Yeah.
I really like that.
I really like the fact that it's 4 years
You're
old.
gonna let that go, I hope. So anyway, if you haven't played this, definitely check it out. And you like it even though you didn't.
No,
play it.
I do like
This would be in my top 20 of the year.
All
It's
right.
just a little long
It
for me.
Came out in 2016.
Mansions of Madness. This is where I live.
Number 4.
So my number 4 game
What are we on now?
is another retheming. Gosh, I guess you could say
Guys, I'm
from around the. Hey, I kept my mouth shut while.
and I'm
while he
saying
laying
it was
into
that
you.
kind of year. I'm
No,
saying it was that
this is
style
like,
of year.
No,
This-
it was not.
this is
It
2
was
games.
Not that kind
Go,
of year.
go.
This is 2 games.
Go.
2 games. This is the only 2 games that are on my list here that were basically rethemes. The rest
Out of the
them
10
were-
best of the year for you.
Yeah,
I just like to
only
point
2.
out that you gave me all that garbage about Mansions of Madness and Hero Realms, Star Realms. Come on now. All they
Yeah,
did was
those-
change the theme.
Two. Wait. Who? No, but they added character
Oh.
packs.
Okay, anyway, come on.
Go.
It actually
Go.
changes how you play the game.
Oh, wait, like the
I'm going
app
to come out
doesn't-
on top here.
No,
'cause
all
I'm
the
the
app
first
does
one that
is
said,
all the app really does is it changes. It keeps track of everything for you.
go.
That's all it does.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, come on.
What is your number 4?
All right, my number 4 is Carcassonne Amazonas.
Wow, I'm so off on this list. That is your 4th favorite game of the year?
Yes.
Wow.
I really enjoyed it a lot. My family enjoys it a lot. I love the fact that they put a racing theme, mechanic, into Carcassonne.
I don't want to hear any garbage about pandemic games on my list. Zero
Well,
garbage.
this is the only Carcassonne game that I have on the.
I
on
have
my list.
3 more
I
pandemic
know.
games
That's
on
why.
my
That's
list.
why we give you garbage about Pandemic. I just really enjoyed it. First of all, this is there's the racing theme. After that, the artwork on the tiles is amazing compared to some of the other ones. Very very good. Some of the other Carcassonne, the tiles were lackluster, especially that Star Wars one.
That ain't a
Now
looker.
look, I enjoy Star Wars Carcassonne, but it is an ugly game. Carcassonne Amazonas is the exact opposite of that.
Bad game, but pretty.
No, it's a good game, and it looks good. So that is my number 4,
said opposite.
Carcassonne Amazonas.
Woken.
I know.
You awoke the
Sugars is coming!
All right, so anyhow, my number 4 was a game that when I first played it, I said this is the best game of the year so far, and I thought it was going to be my number 1, but
then you
3
played
other
better
games have
games.
moved up. No, 3 other games have moved up, actually. Anyway, it's Cry Havoc. Cry Havoc, I really like it, okay? And it's not like people are going to be like, oh, what dropped to your number 4? No, I just like the other 3 games better. But Cry Havoc, I love. It's like that perfect mix of game that I just love. I love the miniatures. You know, I love that. I love the 4 very different factions. I love the fact that there's deck building, which is fun. I like the combat. The combat system in Cry Havoc is one of my favorites ever.
Really?
In fact, when I was making my list of innovative games, I almost put Cry Havoc on that list because I thought that, you know, you can fight here or you can take prisoners. You have to decide which of those is more important. I've not seen a combat system like that before, and that really brings a lot out of the game to me. It doesn't take too long. It has that right weight. It's a neat theme. It's a really good combination of things. Really enjoy this game. There's an expansion coming, which I'm pretty pumped about.
Oh, cool.
So that's Cry Havoc.
My number 4 is The Others from designer Eric Lang, and this is the style of
Finally.
game I tend not to go for. Bigger games, miniature, heavy, decent amount of rules. But this game really cleaned up a few things I tend not to like in this kind of game. I like the all versus one in this game works really well. Both sides can sort of do the best they can, and the game is balanced. You don't have to worry about easing off, or you don't feel at any one point like you're at a disadvantage. The game has a ton of variation in the box, and there are expansions for it, and there's a lot of visual clarity on the board, which is one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to games with modular tiles and you make a city or whatever, that you can't tell sometimes, is that a new space or is that a continuation of this space? Is this room 2 squares long or 1 and 1? This game does not have that problem. It's obvious. It is very clear. The actions you can take are very clear. The turns in this game are pretty quick for a big miniatures game. And all those things add up to a game that I can get behind. I really like it.
I gotta be honest. I knew you liked this. That's why I put it on my list here. But if I had been picking games and I didn't know if you had played them or not, I would never have picked this to be one of his favorite games. Do you think? It has a big miniatures and it's a campaign system type, not campaign, but like a
He
scenario.
likes Black Plague too, though, so he's. I think that's a pocket of
Are we
gaming.
starting to convert him? Or no,
no,
I think it
I
has to have horror for him to like
That's
it.
a pocket of.
I do like horror themes.
That's a pocket of gaming that I think he enjoys.
I do. It's just
You
it's
don't
when
like-
those games like overstep it for me and they have too many rules,
Yeah.
too many things to keep track of.
Right.
Your turn is 4 phases long, and you're
If
like,
that's
okay,
true, then I think you might like Conan
I might. I have not played that one.
because that one's pretty fast. All right.
Cool. All right, my number 4 was The Others.
Number 3.
All right, so what 3 games are better than Cry Havoc? Number 3 for me is a game that I honestly expected to dislike when I got it because Sterling Games is known for taking other games and basically just copying them a little bit and changing them. But Codex is just, I just really am over the moon on it. I really like it.
Right.
It's a mix of deck building and your whole deck is in a binder, and then kind of a little bit of Magic the Gathering. And that sounds like a bad mix. It really does. And yet the game plays so smoothly. It feels balanced, but it ends. It kind of has this escalation thing where eventually you're going to get out your big stuff and you're going to smash the other guy. So I really enjoy that concept of it. I like that there's 6 different colors, and each color is subdivided into 3 different sections, which means you really have 18 different kind of paths you can take.
Wow.
Well, no. You're not doing all that in one game, but like if I'm playing blue, I have 3 different things. I'm like, this time I'm going to try this section of blue to play. And I really like that. And it's easy and simple, and it seems to offer a lot of strategy. I just think it's great. I really do. The only bad thing I'll say about it is it seems a little bit pricey for what you get, but that's Codex.
Cool. My number 3 is a Euro game, pretty much through and through, and this one came out of nowhere to really surprised me, and it's a fantastic game. Manhattan Project Energy Empire, based on kind of Manhattan Project, but really just in theme alone, I would say, and barely so.
Well, actually, the game was originally a different theme, and then when they brought it into Minion Games, they decided to slap that theme
That
on
makes
it.
sense, because it's barely there. But
It works, though. The
one
energy
way or the
dice-
other, it makes for good artwork, an interesting theme that they did add on later on, but whatever. The gameplay is fantastic. This is a great Euro with not insane amounts of stuff you can do, like Feast for Odin, but a good amount of stuff you can do. And lots of different ways you can go. And cards that give you different powers. And some dice manipulation for energy production and things like that. And I just love a game where we start and we're all the same at the beginning. And a few turns in, already you can start to see how I'm doing one thing and everybody else is doing a different thing. And by the end of the game, we are completely different. I love that in games that make you make those choices quickly. This one nails that pace, and it's just a very engaging Euro-style game. So, for me, my number 3, definitely a surprise hit for me, Manhattan Project Energy Empire.
Okay, good. My number 3 is a crossover with Mr. Vasel's number 4, and that is Cry Havoc from Portal Games. A game that really, when I first heard at Gamma that Portal was going to be putting this out this year, I was like, not expecting a whole lot out of that, because to that point, Portal was not known for miniatures games or area control games or anything like that. They were very
and even
much
the designer
Euro in
had
design.
done some little take that game, Farmageddon or something like that. It wasn't really that big of a deal, and the box cover wasn't very inspiring.
Well, I liked the box cover, actually.
you did?
Yeah, I liked that kind of nondescript sci-fi futuristic look to it. I liked
Really,
it.
I thought it looked like a ripoff of a video game. Like, hey,
Looks
we're
like
trying to
Crysis.
make Crysis.
Well, yeah,
But-
it did, but I liked Crysis's covers too. So, I mean, if I like one, I'm going to like the other. So,
All right.
but it's solidly been one of those games that has just continued to climb up the ranks the more times that I get to play it. Now, I have not played the Pilgrims yet, but I guess it'll happen soon enough. But I'm just less excited to try the Pilgrims out because
I haven't played them yet either for that same reason.
they're just not what I would envision having fun in that kind of a game. But I'll give them a whirl just because I enjoy the game that much. It doesn't matter to me. So my number 3, Cry Havoc from Portal Games.
Number 2.
My number 2 is yet again another sort of re-theme, reworking, re-establishing of a previous game. This is 51st State, the Master Set.
That one I got.
51st State was a game that originally, when it came out, I very much enjoyed. Up to that point, the only other game I have played like it was Race for the Galaxy, a game which was card-driven, pretty much exclusively, but with lots of gameplay in those cards. And 51st State had a really good theme, and it tackled that whole grab a bunch of stuff, turn it into points in a really clever way. This game is an evolution of that original one after several iterations, including Imperial Settlers. And this one then takes a lot of things that the designer did in Imperial Settlers, brings it back home to the original, and makes a new beast out of it. And it's amazing. Great artwork, great components, really good gameplay, very much cleaned up from the original, much easier to teach. For one thing, I can actually get this one to the table, because the original was full of symbols. This one has text. Yay, I can play with people. So, I like it a lot. It's fantastic. If you enjoy heavier card games, resource management, and liking post-apocalyptic themes won't hurt, then this is one that should be on your radar. Definitely check it out.
This is one of the first games that Z ever taught me and Sam. I remember that.
Oh, really?
And, not the master set, but
No,
the
the
original
original.
one. And I was like, what is all these tiny little tokens? And none of this makes sense. And I was so annoyed by it.
Cool.
Maybe the master set I like better. It has little gun tokens. Those are neat.
It does. It does.
Ah,
So
what do you
that's
got?
my 2.
All right, my number 2 is a game that was put out by Matago. The designer's name is Christian Martinez, and it's an Irish-themed game where you are vying for control over the island of Ireland, and that is Inish.
Innis?
Inish.
Innis.
Inish. I've been told by Irish people that you pronounce it Inish.
No, they pronounce it Innish. I pronounce it Innis.
Right, and you're wrong. So,
Words hurt.
Well, then you're in the wrong place, man.
I know, right?
First time I played the game, I was like, I don't know if I like this or not, because I didn't
Sounds
really
familiar. That's how we felt.
understand how the game plays very well, because there are 3 different winning conditions. But you don't have to get all 3 of them. You can only get one. As long as you're the only one that is accomplishing that winning condition, you can say, I'm winning next round. And now it's up to everybody else to try to stop you. And if nobody stops you, you've won.
I have to say, I never expected one of the hottest games of the year to have an Uno mechanism.
I guess if you
You're
want
basically saying, Uno!
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. But
Yeah.
to stop somebody from winning, it's much harder than just playing a
No,
card.
I understand that. It's just that reminds me of that same
Uno
thing.
in Ireland is pronounced Innish. So
She's such a troll.
if I offended anyone, I was kidding.
I am not
sad you have to say
alone.
that.
I am not alone in this
sure.
one, because Inish has hit, and it's hit hard and heavy.
Yes.
A lot of people. This is a hot game
Actually,
right
GTS Distribution just released their best-selling games from October, and Inish was number 1.
now. Wow.
But I
See,
will
did not know
say, though, that it seems to be the consensus across the board that the first 2 plays,
Yes.
you're not going to know what's happening.
Right, you've got to play it
Just
2
be aware.
or 3
if you want to
times.
go check it out going in,
Yeah.
you got to know that.
That's
gotta-
why Sam reviewed it rather than us, because we haven't played it enough.
Yeah, you've got to play it 2 or 3 times just to really understand what's going on and how you can win the game, which might seem a little uncool. It really isn't. It's really a good game. My number 2, Inish.
My number 2 is going to be a lot of people's number 1s, I think, this year, because this is probably the hottest game of the year, maybe, and that is Terraforming Mars, which is just really taking game groups and conventions by storm. It's certainly being played everywhere. Right. And when I first got it, I was like, oh, because Frick's games had not impressed me that much up to that point. Their games were okay. But Terraforming Mars it has what I love in a Euro game, and that's that engine building. I play this card, that lets me do this, and I play these cards, which lets me do this. And because the card deck is so big and so many different cards, each time it's going to have a very different feel in what you do. There's interaction between players, even a little bit of take that, but not too much. So there's enough to, be a little spicy, but not like, I'm going to steal that cube from you, but not like,
Right.
none of that nonsense.
Right.
And the theme is cool. It is actually about terraforming Mars. It makes sense, and I really, really like it a lot.
I wanted to like this game, and I'm not saying that I don't like it, but I've only played it once. My one experience with it has been that if you don't get lower cost cards in your hand at the very beginning, you're behind.
Well, the easiest
Way
fix to that
behind.
is that if you're playing the game, you draft at the beginning. Right, so you'll have
Yeah.
you'll have at least one
We
card.
didn't do that. I understand
Is that in the rules?
But we got through.
I think so.
We got through. I mean, we were going through the game, and my opponents were putting out cards left and right, and I was like doing 1 a turn.
Right. Also, if you don't know that at the beginning, you can basically buy cards, and you're like, I don't want to spend money on cards. Yeah, you really do.
You do. Right,
I was doing that, but every card I pulled had double-digit costs on them. It just was a luck of the draw anomaly. Maybe I'll give it that right now, but we'll see.
All right.
And finally, number 1.
All right. Here we go.
I'm gonna roll a 1.
We're doing 6-sided because it's 2016.
No,
That was a stretch.
because we
2.
could not find the other one.
They've been
Okay,
stolen.
I'm gonna try to be polite here. That didn't work. But a 5.
That was rude.
Polite.
Oh, you deserve the 1.
Oh man.
All right, what do you got?
All right.
What's the order?
I'll do mine and Sam's, and then we'll leave you for last. You being the voice of the people or the voice of the tower or something.
Actually, I think my number 1 is going to be no one else's number 1 this year.
Okay, so what do you think my number 1 is?
Well, I mean, you've been leading us to believe it's Pandemic Iberia. That would be a really sad number 1. But I'm going to say that you were just leading us in that direction. Your number one's really Imhotep.
Oh, goodness. No, I rate that as
It's
6,
got to be
I think.
Iberia, dude.
It's Iberia.
No wonder he thinks it's a bad year. He put 2 versions of Pandemic. This irritates me. Oh, it irritates me. There were so many great games. We reviewed hundreds of games on our show. And you're picking 2 versions of Pandemic? Oh, Kool-Aid, let me drink the...
Stop. You're going to make him feel bad. He'll quit. Stop.
Sorry.
I got you back.
Go ahead, talk about it.
I like Pandemic Iberia for lots of different reasons. Because it's pandemic largely, and Iberia is also a nice place.
Oh my goodness, you're really... Unless he really trolled us.
It's the 1800s,
He might have.
Pandemic is fun. No, it's Pandemic Iberia.
All right.
I really like Pandemic Iberia. I did think it was a year that was heavy with the re-themes, heavy with the sequels, heavy with the reworkings, and the original games that came out this year either sucked or...
No way.
I have 8
I'm
games
sorry.
here
I
that are...
highly
Or-
disagree with you on this.
I actually have 9 games because my 11th is an original game that does not suck. So I have 9
I mean, there's
games
a few that were like really felt original, like Mechs versus Minions. That felt different.
Well, good. Glad to see it made your list.
Yeah.
That would have been in my
Ice
top
Cool
20.
felt different. Scythe felt different.
Ice
Pirates
Cool,
of the
if I
Underdark
get
felt
garbage for putting
different.
light, silly games on my list.
Commissioned felt like Pandemic.
Cool.
Hero Realms, although it's built upon Star
No.
Realms, felt different if you play it with the character packs.
Come on,
Have
man.
you played it?
No.
Then shut up.
All right, all
I
right.
guarantee that both of the pandemic
Give him
games...
his moment. Talk
Nope.
about Pandemic
No,
Iberia.
I have nothing to say. It's just Pandemic Iberia is it's a spin-off of Pandemic that I thought was very well done. It's very attractive.
I agree.
Mechanisms are tight. What it takes from Pandemic and what it leaves behind is interesting. What it adds to replace the things it left behind is interesting. The variants that come in the box are interesting, are thematic. It takes Pandemic, which I would not say is thematic. It's like the diseases are unnamed and it's based on, this theme, but it's not the most thematic game out there. And this one kicks up that theme considerably, I think.
I agree with everything you just said, and I'm being sincere. I just think that there are better games this year than that one. I just think that your original premise that there aren't any good original
Yeah, I
games.
guess that's it. I don't
For
mind that
me,
you're. I don't mind that you're.
I don't shouldn't have to
Oh,
say that.
Well, I know that,
got
but I
it.
just feel like wow. Because I know you like Pandemic, and of course I expect you to like the Pandemic variants. It's
Not
just
if they suck.
but it's mind-boggling to me that 2 of them made your top 10 with all the amazing games that came out this year. All right. Well, let's
I'm
go to
next. I'm next. My number one.
you. I already checked it off on my list because I know
Yeah,
you
okay.
have it on your list.
Yeah.
Conan, right?
My number
No.
one was
You said it already?
Conan
No.
didn't make my list because I played it after I played my
Okay.
top 100.
Oh, jeez.
But let me ask this: would Conan have made your list?
It
Because I
would've-
wrote it on mine.
It would have made both my top 100 and this list.
Okay, good.
But I just didn't play it in time.
okay.
No, it's the one he gave me garbage because I put it as number 10.
Yeah.
Star Wars Rebellion.
Rebellion is my number one.
Oh, okay, right.
My number one. When I played this way back when, and it was one of the first 2016 games. that
It
we
really
played
was.
this
We
year.
played it back in January, I think.
I knew then that this was going to be on my top 10 list this year. Where it was going to fall, I didn't really know. Now, this is not a game that I'm good at. I can beat him though, which
Yeah, you can't use that for an example
which
about being good at a
says
game.
something about how good he is at it too. Because I've had my tail handed to me in this game soundly. But again, that's just the way it goes. I think that, like Tom said, it is Star Wars in a box. That is exactly how this feels. This is probably the best, in my opinion at least, the best Star Wars game that's on the market right now.
Wow, so you're saying better than the other 3?
Yes,
All
I am
right.
saying that. Now, they all have their niche places to reside. I mean, X-Wing and Armada are definitely heavier miniatures games, and so they'll dominate that market. But I think in a general populist type setting, this is the best Star Wars feeling game that I have that's out there right now. It really puts you in the mix of that entire universe, spanning, of course, the original trilogy. So I really enjoyed it for a number of different reasons. All of the things that he said about it. Star Wars Rebellion, my number 1. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
What's my number 1?
Has it been mentioned already?
It is not. It is a game that every time you see me play, you're like, oh, you like that game that much? I played it at BGG Con.
Sorry.
I don't remember what that was.
You were playing it at BGG Con?
Played it with Dan King and crew because he wanted to learn a game because he was like wondering why I liked it so much. I played it at Dice Tower Con. I played it I played it several times. It's a real-time cooperative game.
Oh, geez, no way. You liked it that much?
That is my number 1 game of the year, Project Elite. I love this game. Yes.
I feel left out then because we went into UKGE. We came back from UKGE saying that we were going to play this together.
Well, we
and that
still
you were
could.
going to teach me how to play it.
Still can.
And you haven't done it yet!
Wait, has it been that long since I played the first time?
Yes. Because we saw it first at UKGE.
Oh, but I hadn't played it at
You
that
hadn't
point.
played it yet, and then when
you
it came in, you were like,
yeah, but
you played it like 15 million
He
times.
does do that. He does
Is
do
Sam
that.
here?
I'm pretty sure that did not happen. But I really like this game. Now, it's really weird because this would be even higher on my number 1 if the miniatures were like high quality.
It would be like your number 0 then.
Yeah, you're right. But I just love, like I said, I love that whole swarms of guys coming.
That's crazy. I was
I
not
like going
expecting this
through,
to
rolling
be...
dice fast.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting this to be in your top 10 at all. I wasn't expecting it to be higher than Cry Havoc.
I
for
wasn't
sure.
either. Yeah.
I did not expect anyone else to have this as a number 1, really, right? This
Or
is
on
like
their list at all.
Well, I
Right.
don't know. I think some people really like. I mean, it's been getting pretty good reviews from people. It's just that it's not that widespread yet. But I love the real time aspect. I love that you're so like focused on your own guy, that you're not thinking about everyone else. I already like things like Fuse and Escape anyway. This took that to a more interesting level for me.
Okay.
Okay, so now let me see. Okay, so you said Conan wasn't on your list because too new. Okay,
Yes.
fine. I also had picked London Dread for you.
Yeah.
All right, and then I picked. See, I didn't pick Energy Empire for you. I had picked it for you because I knew you had liked it because you're a big fan of Manhattan.
Right.
And then the other one, which I was really surprised, was Hanimani, whatever it is.
Hanamakoji.
That's been around since 2013. That is the published date. It's been in Japan.
Okay,
It's
but
a 2013
but it
game.
was published. Really?
Yeah.
What else did you have for me? That
Would that have made your top 10?
Yeah, if it was this year.
That would have been his number
Okay,
0.
that's fine. Okay, for
No,
you,
it
I had
would have
Imhotep,
been
but then
my-
you scorned me when I said that.
Imhotep is okay. I rated like a 6, I think, or a 7.
I put Kanagawa,
Yeah, that was on the short list.
Factory Funner,
Very much on the short list. That's my 11, I think.
La Granja No Siesta,
No, that's like in the top 25 or
and
something.
Arcane Academy.
It's top 25 also.
Oh, yeah, at least those
But
were
Factory
some original
Funner, yeah,
games.
Factory Funner.
I-
Factory Funner again
But that's for you!
would have been my 11, I said, right?
When I look at all the games that I could have put on my top 10, like you mentioned Quadropolis, which did not make mine, and a lot of these other games, which I'm not going to talk about because I have another top 10, but they're not repeats of other games.
I
They're
know,
all
that's
cool.
I'm very happy for you. For me,
but I'm sad for you.
the year
You
felt
did not
that
have as good of a
way.
year.
You know? I love how he's like invalidating my year's
Please see
experience.
like better games.
I liked very much the games that I liked, but it felt to me like the ones that popped out for me that I really liked were rethemes or spin-offs or that sort of thing. La Granja No Siesta.
That's a
Spin-off.
Yes, but that's still probably not even basic.
It's
It
like
could have been a different
when you
game.
have a year at the movies where everything's a sequel. It's a great year. Don't get me wrong, right? You could have amazing flicks at the movies. But they're all like you don't have one new sci-fi flick, which I love.
Well,
when they
but we
find-
did. You just didn't pick any of them.
Well, none that I liked. How about that? Or I liked that much.
Sometimes I lean more your side, but I'm going to have to give the nod to Sam for having the better list.
You guys definitely have way. I mean, I don't have any crossover at all, right?
Shut up, Sam. Sam
Anyway, all
and I
right.
crossed over on 2, but we would have with 3, and we would have crossed over on 4 if Conan had. Okay.
My
Anyway,
number 11 was Ice Cool. If you didn't catch that earlier.
realize that these lists, of course, could change if we play some amazing game, in the
Yep.
next couple months. I doubt they will change much, but tell us in the comments what your favorite games are. Tell us why we're wrong or why we like too many. Like Tom doesn't like Euros, even though 2 of them are in his list. Okay, whatever. Say it. Bring it. Anyway, 2016, we'll talk more about it. Watch all our lists coming over the next few weeks. Until then, I'm Tom Vasel.
Zee Garcia, thank you.
Sam Healey. See you on the flip side, y'all.